Good morning, happy people. So glad to see you guys. All right, let's look at some crypto. Ski Mask Dog. Okay, so Ski Mask Dog, it looks like it's going to be SKIU. Let's look at it on MEXC. The price is around 24 cents. This is a fairly new one. Looks like it's fairly new. Let's look on Gate.io to see if they got any further data. Nope, same. We got December 2024. It's a good coin X. Yep, so we're going to look at Ski Mask Dog. It's a very new crypto. So with new cryptos, they don't have much. Very wide spreads. Okay, very wide spreads. And what I mean by that is the flow. Sweetie, can you give me my pen on the side of my piano? If we take a look at the average, thank you. Are you okay? Oh, some of the candles are about that wide, but also, if you look carefully, almost all of them are around this wide, aren't they? And now, if you gotta, this is a kind of a, not a trick, but it's something you have to be aware of. When you're looking at flow of price, and you see almost every candle has large wicks, it may be easy to see that the flow of price is coming down, coming up, coming down, coming up, coming down, coming up, coming down. You can get that. But if you take into account the distance of some of these candles, then you start getting a good look at the average. Sometimes range blocks, candlesticks can help you, but you need to understand you're dealing with a large flow. And so sometimes when you're taking a move, if you're in a bullish position, you could really be going really against yourself for a few moments, even if you're correct. You could really find yourself, the candles coming really far down against yourself. So please just remember your range that you're trading. So for example, if I'm bullish, what this means is, if I'm bullish this crypto and I buy here, say I'm buying right there, I might have to account for price giving me widths in that range. So if I take the distance of the average candles and I'm in a bullish position, I may be really dangerous putting a stop loss so close to this. I may have to also experience price coming all the way down to there and it still be average and still go up. Does that make sense? So when you guys are trading cryptos, keep in mind the average range that price is falling into, okay? If I'm shorting this crypto and price goes really high and comes right back down, oh man, you really shouldn't be surprised because again, that range that price is filling is about the same range as every candle. So just a good little rule of thumb is do a quick check of the average ranges. If the spreads are small and the wicks are small, that's great. That means that price is only playing in those areas. What we see in this example is price is closing in these tight ranges. Like here, that's tight, but the distance, the spikes, the wicks, the price is going all the way up there in that trading session. So all of these need to be accounted for too. You can go all the way down and be like, oh, I better get out. You get out of your position and the price goes against you if it's going up. And that's something that's, it's just easy to catch if you understand the range. You're dealing with prices moving in these wide ranges, okay? All right, anyway, I want to say one more thing about this crypto since there's very little data for us. It could be sometimes when you have little data, you're going to zoom into some of the smaller time frames. But generally, you want to have a good idea of the flow on the larger time frames. I'm going to go from a daily to a 12-hour and see if there's any more consistent flow in F price. And I think there is. Here's what I see. Okay, this is a core. Somewhere around here is a core. Here's a core. Here's a core. Here's a wick. There's a few wicks that are in this area as well. And then we actually may be somewhere in a positive place. But I'm going to draw that more accurately to confirm that. So let's see if we can collect many of those pieces of information. Oh, and it looks like we can't get this last bottom. So I'm not really sitting here really nicely. Not yet. I'm still going in and out, at least on this 12-hour chart. And I didn't really see it on the daily chart. Okay, so that might be something that's maybe forming, maybe coming. Maybe it's part of a parabolic and we're going to be looking for a support closer to here. Very limited data, so we're highly speculative. Something else I see, flats may be at work. Here's our blue flats. Okay, we got some cores, maybe some wicks, and then the meaty parts of those cores here on the underside, and then again we're at the top. Now if we're going in and out but yet respecting, it tells us that primary oscillation is the top and bottom. One of the other ways we can use to verify this is just taking one side, one distance, and I'm using only the cores to be conservative, taking the distance between price oscillating in that area and duplicating out to the bottom side so we know the distance is 50%. So all I have to do to make this more accurate is I'm going to draw a line, a measuring line that I'll use. I'll have to draw it again. Move it underneath and then draw your angle. In this case it's just a flat line, so it's really easy to draw. Why is my ruler not coming up? There we go, got it. So now I'm just going to draw my flat line there. Now this is why I like this one, because it looks like we already have a verification. So I drew the distance between this oscillation in the top by using this. This is also the same technique we taught in 5.0 as mid-phantom transformation. This technique helps me understand if I'm actually looking at the correct oscillation angle, and therefore what I can use this information to tell me is if this is the verification, price responding to this area, which is exactly the distance, 50% from the tops and bottoms of our middle line, it tells me primarily that the breakout is up there. So if price comes to that price, which is around 38 cents, I'll be looking, if price comes and is able to build above 38 cents, I'll be looking for it to go up. Now I don't want to just be up here because we could spike and come down. I want to have structure. I want to see price come up and come back down on here. Okay, I want to see some strong closes and strong support, increasing volume, or even a no demand. Okay, up there. I also know that if price is entering this territory, especially if we're coming down and coming up into that area and the price is 16 cents, then I'm going to be looking for prices to come down. Now again, it's limited data. We have very limited data for this crypto, so we're being more speculative than anything. But at least from what I see, these might be some very important areas that we might want to be looking at, okay? And apart from that, I think that's all I'm going to do, all I'm going to share. I think that's all I'm really going to glean from this right now. Yeah, we probably are going to be going up because of the increasing volume on the up moves. We still have a strong increase in volume. There's still a lot of market up, which is synonymous with some of that maybe parabolic that's going to happen. Okay, I would draw one more watch line and probably that's all. So if I come down right now and I'm going to be looking to get higher prices, then my next watch line is going to be maybe somewhere, let's draw, maybe somewhere around here. So this angle might be a clue when I start going up. So if I come back up again, I'll be looking to go higher. But I think we're going to be seeing higher prices because of the challenges are increasing. So there's too much of a market up in the sky. Okay, that's a little arrow pointing up. All right, any other questions? Ski mask dog. My opinion, ski mask dog. Okay. All right, next one, XCN. Anyone else towards the end? Just let me know if you want me to include it now. Otherwise, I'm going to do it towards the end of this part before our fellowship break. Okay, Onyx coin, XCN, close to 20 cents. Here's a look at our current chart for XCN, Onyx coin. When I last looked at this chart, what I believe I'm looking at right now is a bullish type of uptrend for Onyx coin, or XCN. So in our previous map, I have some targets or some resistances closer to 0042, higher ones at 0.015. And then I did the target system already for this one, which is up in the sky, 0.25, 0.40, and 0.64. So this is the two targets, the green ones. And the swing target, which is hit quite a bit, very accurately, many times very accurately, at closer to 0.4. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're able to get above 1.5 cents, we're going to be hitting that area. But right now, current price is 0.02, so we're still quite low. Now, some of the more recent things I drew for people as a quick look is I quickly identified a parabolic. So you can see that it's just a line that I drew. But let's update that to the real parabolic. So if I was going to draw the parabolic, I might want to include the meaty parts of all these moves, and it's going to be about right there. So the real smaller health was somewhere around these prices of 001. And when I drew that parabolic, it looks like we broke above that and now have a chance to move up towards some higher areas. This is XN. Okay, let's point out some of the things that might be missing. Let's use a yellow color. We're going to duplicate. We're going to bring it down to the bottom. If I bring it down to the bottom in the foundational area, especially near the core, which is right there, the meaty part, that's the core. Okay. I get a verification, and this lets me know I'm doing it right. Okay. If this is all I have, can somebody quickly tell me about how high price is supposed to rise? I'm gonna ask you two questions here. Can somebody tell me how high price is supposed to go? Is it supposed to go all the way to the top towards 004 first, or something else supposed to happen? Can somebody do that? Let's take about 7 minutes, do some class tutorial. A little bit. If price broke out here into health, how high was price supposed to go? How we can glean that information quite easily. So say I bought right there at the break. When price is bouncing here, somewhere at around 0017 or even 0016. Somebody draw on my screen how high price is supposed to go. Okay, good job. Do you see whose iPad? I don't know who iPad is. It's probably House. Is it House? Did you see what he drew? He drew a line from the distance between here and here. That distance he drew. And then all he did, or she did, duplicate the distance on the top, and he duplicated the parabolic. So if we have if this is our key angle, we can duplicate the parabolic and we can move it straight up. Now, can I move this to the left and to the right? The answer is no. I cannot move it to the left or to the right. Generally, after they level out, it's not that big of a deal. But when I'm moving it here, I sometimes can throw off my calculation. It can look right, but I can throw off my calculation. So the current version is that we only bring it to the top. So if I'm buying it here, a good rule of thumb for our next target is price is supposed to go at least to this distance here. And then from there, we can glean something else. Okay, we can talk about where we're gonna go from there. All right, now this might be a great example to revisit on Wednesday, because I'm gonna show you how to get that bottom right there on Wednesday. I'll show you how to get that bottom. But in our current version of sword method, this is about what we have. Okay, now the next one that I have is if price hit our target, where price is trying to go, was there a way to get the top? Here, is there a way to get the top there? Does anybody know of a way to collect the top? So we got this far up there in the sky at that price. Was there any clue that we could have known that the top was actually 2.9 instead of 2.3? Okay, any clue that the top was actually 2.9 instead of 2.3? Explain further, please.
I think somebody circled it already.
What are they saying about this week? What does that mean?
The price has the potential to go up that high.
Okay, so how can I use this technique? How can I use that practically?
You draw it and you move it over. Let's see.
Could I have drawn a parabolic from this week and this week if I only have two? Can I draw a parabolic if I only have 2 points?
You need 3 points.
I need 3 points, right? So this is actually, this one up here is still correct.
So you just want to take the wick and move it over.
So if I take this wick and I move it to the top wick up there, am I catching this one here?
No.
No. If I bring it to the bottom one, am I catching these tops? Maybe I'm catching these right here, maybe. But
maybe. But I was talking about, you see I guess somebody has it circled. You just move that over, count for the wick.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. It's something you taught, Jay.
But I know what I'm trying to tell. I just want to see if you guys understand it or catch it. There we go. Did you see what's on the screen? There's something remaining on the screen. Is that yours in red, Firecracker?
No.
No? Who's this in red? They got it correct.
Mine is the yellow.
Okay. Who's that in red?
I think it was iPad.
Okay. iPad's on fire today. I'm so impressed with iPad, I'm probably going to get one. Okay. If you...
Look at the yellow wicks there. You see the two?
Okay.
The account of the wick move on that.
Can't use... The answer is actually this. I'll show you the answer, okay? I can't really use this wick up here as the distance. So I take whatever I have, I take my key, and I can use my key along that. So the key is like the tool we can use to move to the tops, wicks, and bottoms. And I can use that to count for the whole oscillation, but I'd have to know that's where my oscillation really was. So in our current version, it's actually much more simpler than that. Once I have my key, I'm going to be looking for verification along my key. I don't just put my key everywhere, but I put my key in certain places to look for verification. So if my key is here, a clue might be I want to use the wick side. But if I don't have any verification, then I don't really have a reason to use that wick side for that. And I'm just going to keep my key on the top where it is. Okay, so my key is not giving me a wick. But if that wick was a little bit longer, I could say, oh yeah, maybe the more oscillation is here, and I'm going to use that. But it's more simple. If you look on the bottom side, okay, and I'm going to see if I can zoom this out. If I take my key straight down to the foundational wick area over here, it might give me a clue that we might want to use this area. Okay, if the wick was stretching this far, that might be a clue that we can get that top. Okay, in this case, I can't catch it here with that wick. What about this wick right about, is this still within the boundaries? This one catches the lower side of that wick, the meaty core part, and I can get a wider range now. So now I got a much wider range that I'm dealing with, and this might be the answer we're looking for. What we're still looking for is verification, either in the past, in this case, maybe even that's part of that support, but this is still in the core area, even one of those wicks is touching, and then this is one of those wicks that's touching, and maybe that one's still close. Okay, but for the most part, this one's still within the rules. Okay, I got some verification along these points. 2 verifications on the bottom where the phantom should be. That's a big clue that my oscillation is actually this far. So let me show you what I'm meaning. If I know that this is my oscillation, these are my tops, and these are the bottom, and I have some evidence that this is where price is playing, then if I break up, the distance may actually be much higher than just the one we drew conservatively. And it's always good to draw conservatively, and I like conservative targets, but it can place me closer to where we're actually trying to go. Now, to calculate this more properly, all we do, especially after they level out, because these parabolics level out, and what I mean by that is they just go flat after a while. They don't go all the way backwards, and we don't make a circle because price doesn't go backwards. Price moves from left to right. But if I just were to take a flat line from these 2 areas, and I take that distance and I bring it up to the top, then I might be a lot closer to my top than I was before. And there's where you can see the cores are at in this area. So that might be one way that you can catch some of these more aggressive resistances. Okay, this is one way you can catch more of the aggressive resistances. Especially if I'm not getting a result here, I'm like, oh, where's the next top then? You may want to look again at your parabolic to see if you got it right, got it wrong, and see for there. Now, we can always still account for the wicks. That's another way we can account for some of that more aggressiveness. But generally, we can take those wicks and give ourselves the distance on top of our conservative targets. That's one way we can do it. But another way we can do it, and you guys are doing great, that's what I believe maybe some of you guys were trying to point out. But when we're trying to just measure the parabolic itself, the meaty oscillation, if you have verifications on your wick sides, don't be afraid to use the wick parabolic. So let me show you what that looks like on the chart, the real chart. So instead of my angle being here, I'm going to take a measuring tool, straight down, straight up. Okay, do you see what I'm doing? Okay, so now I'm going to bring this back up in color so you can see it more properly. Therefore, all we're really doing is the 5.0 mid-phantom transformation. There's our top, 0029. Does that make sense to everybody? Did you see that? Okay. That can help you guys to catch some of these tops better, a little bit better sometimes. Now remember, what we're doing is an art. So with any art, there's a lot of abstractness. So the more things we can catch, the more story we can put together, the more we can understand and see things a little bit better. Now, is there any clue? Let's go a little bit further with this thought. Okay. Oh, by the way, let me draw those flats since we know we're dealing with flats now. Now, I'm not okay to draw this flats in blue because they're just an extension of a parabolic. So I'm just going to use the continuation of a color, but they just go on straight from now on, the parabolics. If you wanted to, after you've drawn that, to declutter your mind, you can minimize your lines. Another thing you can do is you can fade away your art. Okay, fade away some of your lines that you drew and just keep what's relevant in front of you. Okay, so basically we're dealing with a distance between here and here. So now how can I use this to help me make money to trade? The way I can use this is if I'm navigating this crypto, I may want to draw another health there looking for the next breakout. So I now know I'm looking primarily for maybe a breakout or structure above that number I gave you, 2.9. Okay. So if I'm getting above 2.9, I might be looking to cover the rest of the distance up to only that price. So now I know what money's on the table, how much percentage is on the table if we get that, by just taking my measure tool and just measuring somewhere around the breakout area 0.029 to here. That's about 48% left possibly on the table. All right, now I'm going to ask you a question. Is that 48% being conservative or aggressive? Is it being really liberal, 48%? 42%, 0.0442 price, the 48% that's in here. Should I take it exactly here, or do I want to push it a little bit higher? What do you guys think? If I'm going to take profit and tell my exchange, hey, take profit at 0.042 cents, should I be 42 cents, or should I be a little bit higher or a little bit lower? What do you think we might want to be in this example? What do you think? Let's see some thoughts. Higher, a little bit higher, says Dave. Okay, who is iPad? Change your name so I know who you are. Or unmute, because we always have an iPad. It's probably House, I'm guessing. House, is that you?
It's pretty vocal. He doesn't mind talking.
Yeah. I don't know who iPad is. Okay, iPad's doing it right. It's probably Wayne's World too. Sometimes he forgets. But Wayne's World's vocal too. iPad drew some wicks here. It's probably right, but there's one issue, and this is what I'm going to say. The wicks are on the top side. There's no guarantee we're going to hit the top side wick again. But generally, in my experience, if you see the wicks on the downside, that's when I want to be aggressive on the upside. Okay, so if I see lots of wicks on the downside, and this is my calculation, if I see those wicks here, and I know the oscillations here, I'm going to be a little more aggressive on the top side. But in this case, it's a little strange because the wicks are on the top side too, and we could just stop there and come down with no sign. So with this one, I'm going to say, my opinion, I asked that to see what you guys know. Unless the wicks are on the downside, I don't want to be more overly aggressive. Okay, so it's probably going to be more wiser for me to maybe put it here. Now that's nice that it's done this before in the past, and it may continue, but that may be one thing in our corner. But for me, I'm not going to lean so bearish, but I'm not going to lean so aggressive either. For me, I'm going to be right in the middle with this one because I don't see those wicks on the downside between our larger oscillation. Okay, so that's just maybe something that I would do. And you can be more aggressive, but definitely if I see more wicks on the downside, I'm going to be aggressive on the upside. Okay, especially if I had more reasons, that's my top. Okay, something else that I'm going to show you guys. There's a few other things I'm going to show you about this that I'm going to glean. Let's go back to this smaller area. Is there any clue that I might want to use to know if I'm going to get that breakout right now? Is there any clues that I might be going higher? Any clue that the market may be going higher? How might I use, what might I do to determine if the market's going to have a higher chance of breaking above that 2.9 number? Any tools we might want to use in our favor? Okay. Anyone have any bright ideas? Just say we're all trading a crypto like this. It's just swap it out for whatever your favorite crypto is. And we want to know, are we going higher? Are we going lower? What are some things that we might want to do or use? What tools can we use in our toolbox to help us measure in our art or understand in our art if price is more likely to go higher? There's a few things we can use. Okay, iPad's writing VSA, and iPad's right. Volume spread analysis. We can look at the volume. There's a few things we'll be looking in the volume. Number one, we'll be looking for if the down move had a very strong increase in volume as we moved into a smaller health, which we did. And that means that as prices were overcoming these areas into health, the health is right there. If I had some strong volume here and here, especially if I saw strong volume and then no volume right there, that's going to be a good clue that I might be looking for higher prices. Another way we might want to use this is if we see individual volumes here and here, but the volume is higher on this second time around. If I see an increase in volume, it tells me there's too much of a market. The market's not ready to come down. So if I see an even higher volume at these two challenges, we challenged it once here, this high, and then we come again, but I see an increase in volume, that tells me there's too much of a market, and this is generally where you see me draw a little circle with a little white arrow in the background saying sometime in the future we're looking to go higher. So let's look at carefully the volume and see if we see one of those two scenarios that might really give us a good clue. I see really high volume on where? On the top area here. On this day of December 4th. Very high volume, and the move did not result in a major sell-off. Price didn't really fall very far. In fact, it fell to a low in the core area. In the core area, price bounced, and then we moved into health. So where's the massive sell-off? Is it really happening just yet? It may not be. I don't think this is a really strong distribution area. That might be one scenario. Now let's look at the challenge today. Are we seeing a really strong volume? Not really. Not really. So right now, price may need possibly even to cool off. Okay, we may have to examine this last area a little bit. But if I saw a really strong volume, that's a really strong indicator we're going to break out. Right now, I just don't see that just yet. Okay, now let's look to see if there was strong volume on the down bars. Let me hide my histogram. Okay, remember these are these two bars right there and right there. As we're coming down to this area, here's the volume. And then as I come down again, I now still see strong volume. So this tells me there's still a lot of market down here. It's very possible we may get one more challenge down here. Generally, I love to see some strong volume on the upper challenges, but in this case, I'm seeing the stronger volumes on the lower areas instead. Now, this may be offset by this third challenge right there on December 26th, where we actually have a very low or no demand situation. So this may not be a super strong incentive for them to bring it down. So in this case, I'm going to remain more neutral because it's not so clear. Again, I didn't see any of those major scenarios. If anything, I saw the first one, but it looks like we challenged one more time on this date, and it was very low volume on that exact date of December 26th, the day right after Christmas. So no really big clues. If you're looking for something and you don't really see it clearly, don't worry about it. Not everything's going to be clear, and you don't want to see something that's not there. It's better you see it clear than see something you think you see and it may not be there, what you're seeing. Okay, so not a strong indication that this is a real big break. All right, with that said, I only have one more thing to give to you guys for XCN. Is there a clue that we may actually be at a top right now, a larger top? And if there is, how can I identify it? Okay, how can I identify it? Is there a clue that I actually may be at a top right now? This may or may not be a trick question. And if so, what are the clues or indications that we actually may be at a top? Can anybody catch it? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit or know how to catch it. Any clues that we may actually be at a top? Because I see that we may actually be at a top. How can we identify that or confirm that we may actually be at a top? Okay. Just because I draw this angle right here doesn't mean that's the end all be all. There may be a top here in this area. Good. iPad strikes again. The infamous iPad. iPad, I don't know who you are, but you're drawing it good. Did you see what iPad drew? He drew a flat line there. Now, his line's off, but that's okay. He's just using his finger, and that's good enough. That's all I want. Okay, why did he draw a line here, and how can we confirm that? Why did he draw a line, a flat line around there? He's correct, by the way, or pretty correct. Why? Somebody explain to us why and how we can confirm if that's the right area where we should draw this line. He caught it. I was glad. Or she caught it. There's a clue in here. There's a big clue. Huge clues. There's blues clues in here. What you need is to see is on the screen. I'll give you 10 more seconds. See who catches it. Why would he draw a flat there? Somebody figure out why would he draw a flat. He's right, by the way. After I say it, you're all going to face palm your head. Good, Dave. Good. Did you see what Dave drew? He drew a core in this area, and then he put this as a V for verification. Let's see if he's right. If I take a flat block, and I put it right there at the core, I'm going to put a blue one, by the way, right there in the core area, and I'm going to stretch it out. Okay. Now, if you ever can't see your price anymore, click on price, and then in the top area, make sure in the three dots in the very up corner up there, click those three dots and click on visual order, bring to front. Visual order, bring to front. And you're going to pull price in front of you. Okay. So now let's see if I'm right. In this area, in the core area, I got a wick right there. All right. That might be something. Let's see if I extend it out, see what I can see. Oh, would you look at that? resistance up there in this area at December 4th. See what happens when you slow down and you just start learning some of these principles? A lot of things start sticking out to you. Okay. Is it possible that the key resistance on top is actually a flat? And we may actually be coming up close to there. So we may actually need to look at volume in relationship to 1, 2, and 3. And I'll be looking for an increase in volume at 3 especially, at the very least from 1 to 2. If I see an increase in volume, that's a good incentive that I'm going to be seeing much higher prices for XCN. That's a more macro look at the volume. Is there any clues that I'm dealing with a flat and I need a breakout at that price? So instead of the whole 2.9 price, I'm actually going to be looking for prices at 0.033. Okay, iPad drew a line at the large round structure at the bottom here. Now, there's another way to do this, and I would have accepted this answer as well. I would have accepted changing the time frame. But if I place the flat here, somewhere around the meaty core parts, and I stretch it out, look at this. See, this helps you learn beyond the noise. All right. Now, how can I use this to make money? Okay. So I can understand, I can look at volume to see if there's an incentive to break out. And if I break out, how high might I go? Is it 15 or is it a different number? Is it 0.15 cents or is it a different number where I may first stop and come down? Because if I know how to take profit, I can take profit, lick some ice cream, come back in at a lower price. Take the distance of that oscillation, price moving between the top and bottom, that's the oscillation. If we have evidence that this is the oscillation, and we do. When we brought it here at this energy center, we had verification in the past. So now price moving back and forth here is a good clue. By taking the distance of that oscillation, we now know that if price breaks out, we may have a higher chance of hitting that target right there, up there, here. It's not exactly the big targets that we drew in the past when we were just skimming over this chart. It's the more in-depth look. Okay, so the more time you spend with your charts, sometimes you can start gleaming stuff in a much more better or comprehensive manner. All right. I think we spent enough time on this crypto. I know sometimes you guys are saying, I don't care about XCN. But if you understand the principles on these areas, charts, you can start understanding them on every chart. So here around 0.094 might be a better place for us to possibly take some profit. Okay? 0.094. And the money that's on the table, by the way, if we did get breakouts or moves all the way up there, from right now it's around 200%. So if we just bought some right now, even if we're just dollar cost averaging, if we were to go break up there, we might go to 226. Now again, I don't know if we're going to break up there. I'm going to look at the volume one more time, and I'm just going to do this last one for you guys since I already showed you. We did enough tutorial for this one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the volume at these three areas. So I'm going to highlight them, 1, 2, and 3. Again, as I'm saying, in the volume, I'm going to be looking for a increase in volume between 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I need to clear your annotation. Okay, good. All right, so here's the volume. Between points 1 and 2, was there an increase in volume? Yes or no? By the way, the easier way to do this is to just go to a higher time frame, maybe even a weekly chart, just to smooth things out. Was there an increase in volume between points 1 and 2? Yes or no? Okay. Michelle Firecracker put a yes. Easy Peasy put a yes. He's right. Look at the increase in the volume. When we went down from these points here and here, the volume was increasing. It was telling us there's still a market up here. At that time, if this is all we had, even if price is coming down, we would be waiting for a break and for health. There's health right there. Okay. Here's maybe our core resistance somewhere around this area. And if we draw that line, we could say, oh, that's a health. That's where we really want to strike, right? Somewhere there, okay? And we could have drawn that white circle that I often draw up in the sky saying, hey, there's still a market for higher prices, at least somewhere at that area. So that's a big clue when you see the increase in volume at your challenges. It's telling me there's still a market up. Now, you can also use this technique for the down moves as well. But the down move being on decreased volume tells me that this is a correction. Price is going the wrong way. Correction number 2, correction number 1. Okay, that's terrible. Okay, so correction number 2, correction number 1, those two moves. Price is going the wrong way. We see it going down on a highly declining volume. So when price is doing that, where's my thing? Yeah, there it is. When price is coming down in these two moves and we're declining volume, they're not interested. Yet we move into a health, there's a strong incentive and an easy way we can see because of this increase in volume. Price was rising on the up moves. See? During the up moves, prices was rising. The volume was rising. This is a good sign that this is the move in harmony, that the real move is up. Now, if the real move is up, especially if we're seeing increases on volume and there's a market up there, at the very least, we may be getting somewhere in this ballpark where the flats were. Okay, especially if we combine all the data that we did today, we could see easily that should have been our top if we had spent some time with this crypto or a crypto like this. Now, what about this last move? Okay, we moved into health. We're in an uptrend. Is this uptrend? How can we know that if what price is getting ready to, how can we might know that this is going up? We're going up on especially this slight increase in volume. So this tells me the market is still in harmony. The market is still in harmony in the macro. So the real moves is that prices should be experiencing a higher move, but there's not a strong, super strong increase. Wait, oh, there's a clue. I forgot. Yes, there is a big clue. Is there one more clue that we are going to experience what we did again, a move up, but this time even higher? Is there a big clue that we still are going to experience that higher prices, a breakout, an incentive for them to drive the price to new heights? Is there a clue? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to pull this chart up. I'm going to get you the image and you guys tell me. Okay, I'm going to pull up a full screen. Is there a clue that we can catch on this chart that might tell me or tell us that we're in for higher prices? Look carefully at the volume. MB says, how do we know peak 2 wasn't selling volume? I don't believe it's a distribution phase because of it could have been peak number 2 selling volume. But even if it is selling volume, the people who are selling it want to sell at high prices. And when they have an increase in volume that tells me that people are willing to part with it at higher prices, they know not to sell everything and wait for higher prices to still go. But when there's an increase, that tells me there's too much demand. There's still too many more people willing to part with it at those higher prices. So if I'm selling real estate and I sell one house for $1 million and then I get another property, or I have lots of properties, I have 10 properties. The first one I sell for $1 million, I can say, oh, it's a one-off. But then I see people saying, I'll pay 120. And then I test the market again at the higher prices. I'll pay 1,800,000. I'll pay 300,000. And they keep higher. I know that I'm not going to be selling all my property for cheaper. So once we come down to those low prices, I'm like, no, I'm going to hold back. I'll wait for the higher prices. I know that they're going to. I know that I can get some better money if I wait a little bit more long. And we can see the professionals having lack of interest. They're not dumping here at these prices. And they weren't even dumping on this down move either. So they're still waiting for those higher prices. But if there's increase that tells them they can sell, they can even wait longer. All right, the clue is this area right here, and I'm going to show you. It's not just that we're going up in volume. It's this right there. Remember this bar we looked at a little while ago? We looked at it on the micro, that one, that little peak there. Look at the volume on that bar specifically. Huge. This is a test in a rising market, I believe. 1, 2, 3. That was the peak when we hit this, and it tells us there was still a really strong market there. Even if it was just a one-up bar, they drove prices a little higher to see what the market was like, and the demand was still really high. But where's the sell-off? Where's the distribution? Where's the big distribution? It's not there. In fact, the down move may be on declining volume. I'm just going to confirm this really quick, and then again we'll move on. But I like to take sometimes to do tutorials. So I'm going to look, and let's pull up maybe a 12-hour to smooth out just that smaller down move, this down move right here from here to here. The volume declining. So this is a good clue that the volume was super high on the exact date in the exact range where it should, and therefore if we're looking at this in the macro, I have high volume and also again high volume. That tells me there's too much of a market up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this for your notes. And I gave this to you guys last time because I even wrote the word supply check with increased volume, right? Last time, right? So this is the supply check. And the supply is, the check is that there's still a lot of volume. So when they checked the supply, there was still a lot. Supply check with increased volume, we still have more supply check with increased volume there. So the volume is still really high, sustaining or increasing. So this tells me there's a strong incentive, again, for higher prices. So in my opinion, XCN is going to continue to do well and probably have a breakout from 033. That's going to be your big clue. That's your breakout. Okay, this is your breakout number, 0033. Okay, I'm going to be looking for prices to break out from here. If they do, I'm going to be looking to hit this number, 0094. Okay, so I'm going to be looking to take a trade when that breakout happens from here to here. That's what I'll be looking for. Do I have any questions about some of this tutorial content from today? This is a little bit of a tutorial. I'll be looking for the move at the breakout, and I'll type this in just a moment. Okay, I'll be looking for that. So let's add a text, January 2025. This crypto should be added to the long-term bullish list. This crypto, this has potential breakout due to the supply check in December. There is indication higher prices are to come. Okay? There are indication higher prices are to come in the macro or larger story, in the macro volume. So we don't just read the smaller volume, we read the larger story, the story within a story. In this case, this is the story, the larger story. The breakout area is where I wish to confirm this point area with the main resistance around 0.0094. Okay, resistance 0094 area. Okay, all right, so I'm going to copy that and make sure I add that to there. Okay, any other questions? This crypto, I believe, going once, going twice. Okay, all right, I like it. So that one, all right, that seemed to be all the questions for this one. On that photo, I'm going to add since it's going to be added to the bullish list, I'm going to add a green star. I believe it's going to do well. We're going to need to get above 2.9 to get another entry, and then again above 0.03. Get me above there, then I'm going to really probably take the trade. We'll probably slow down at 0.4 with this area, but we also may use that as a stepping stone, and I want to get to there. So basically from anywhere here to there, but I really want to buy it when it's a little bit higher at 0.033 to confirm what I'm looking at. Okay, I want to confirm what I'm looking at. Otherwise, I could be getting a little bit early. But with the market still being bullish right now, I'm going to use this one. Okay, the other thing I'm going to be doing with this crypto is drawing that green star to indicate that I need to add it to my long-term bullish list, or you guys can as well. So we're going to do the stock Palo Alto network. Is that Palo Alto network? It looks like. Yeah, it looks like a stock that's following the indexes pretty nicely. Looks very identical to go up with the rest of the market. Now in the past, when we have been going up when we've been going in times of correction, before the market resumed, when prices was going down, we see those big declining volumes, and they're indicative when things are going to be slowing down for quite a while. Here is July of 2021. Here's January of 2023. This is 2-year span of prices declining, but we did have one more strong up move before that happened. But this is interesting here. We got a time where we're going up and a strong decline in volume, and we haven't seen this volume since 2021. We may be it may be in our best interest to look for some weaknesses to appear. So I'm going to pull up some of this, and I'm going to look for some of the flow that I see Okay, normally I would be using the meaty part of this first oscillation, but when I use this part back here, it gives me that point, which is the verification. So that tells me that the real oscillation is primarily the larger one. So I'm gonna shallow that view and hide it. Now this would be indicative to weaknesses forming or following soon. This actually might be a little bit of a bearish area, or an area where we're looking for some slowdown. So that's going to be something I'm going to keep on my chart. The next thing I'm going to add in this is actually going to be looking for some of the weaknesses and where they should appear. These areas are a good indication when I measure some of these tops as if they are the events, and I use them especially at the meaty parts of the area. I can use those angles to start getting me in the ballpark of where the weaknesses should occur. Okay, that means in the larger story here. But you can also use these more in the more immediate. So if I zoom into the smaller areas, I can also take some of that stuff and use it to my advantage here. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so if I'm taking some of these uptrends as straights, I bring them to the lower energy centers. I can use them in the future. I can use them in the past. In fact, I think this is actually possibly a mid-phantom right there, somewhere around here. But I'm going to, in this example, go to the more closer areas in the same way to see if I can catch some of these weaknesses in real time. Now I'm zooming into the smaller story. I'm going to see if I can catch any of these smooths. Lower energy center here. So these might be the first clues if price is entering any of these areas, or even just going to, I got lots of time. This is around February 26th. Even this is around September of 2025. But this might be a clue where that might first start occurring. Okay, now I'm going to look at the volume in the smaller time frames as well to see if anything contradicts this information. But it looks like it's in alignment. Oh, and I wanted to do one more thing. Current price for this is 182. This is some of the stuff I'm going to be showing you guys on Wednesday. For right now, I'm going to say a huge weakness has not yet appeared. Okay, so I don't want to be super bearish the market for this one. But I don't see that they have a strong incentive to bring it up at the moment. I don't see anything that indicates there's a really strong incentive just yet. So I'm going to be really careful. I'm going to show you a more immediate weakness, so you'll know it's going to be somewhere there. So these are the prices. This is still acting like a support, 156. Big weakness may appear underneath this angle closer to 172, but right now we're still really far away from that happening. We could see prices coming and bouncing, and I'll draw some arrows on what I believe is going to be happening, with our upper resistance still have potentially somewhere around $322. So there's still a lot of money that's still on the table regarding this crypto, in my opinion. Or this stock, but not a really strong incentive that's going to rise anytime soon. But there's potential still on the board. So if I see prices rejecting, I'm going to be looking to take some profit there. Some of the supports are around 156 and around 129 right now. That might be a good price where if you see prices come here, you may see it actually recover quite nicely. Not that I don't think we're going to get into new heights, but if I'm seeing the weaknesses appear, especially underneath the 172, I'm going to be looking for this to come down quite a bit when that's time. I don't have any indication that we're going higher, but as it is, that's where we're at for this one. All right, any other questions regarding this stock at the moment? I don't see it doing anything spectacular anytime soon. Okay, all right, that's probably the better picture for us. All right, get a screenshot. You can get a screenshot right now and use that one as your more immediate guide, maybe. Everything in this video is never financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Let's take our fellowship break. All right. Yeah, so what was King Solomon's legal name given to him by his father? Question number 2. What animal was used to describe the analogy of Uriah's wife who was part of an adulterous scandal. An animal was used to describe an analogy of Uriah's wife who was part of an adulterous scandal. What animal was it used? This was the animal used to compare her. Was it A, a chameleon? Was it 2, a snake? Was it 3, a sheep? Was it 4, a goat? Or was it 5, a wolf? Okay? Chameleon, snake, sheep, goat, or wolf. All right, ready? And finally, question number 3. A man was killed on the side of a road, but one animal seemed to be guarding the body of the man who was killed by standing by him. What type of animal was it? And these are all random biblical trivia questions. Number 1, was it a dog? Number 2, was it an Egyptian monkey? Was it number 3, a wolf? Was it number 4, a lion? Or was it number 5, a bear? All right, lock in your answers. Type in your answers on what you think it might be and put it in the chat. I want to see comma 2, comma 3 type of format, okay? All right, lock in your answers. Show everybody what you voted. Put it in the chat. Just type in the 3 numbers in the order that you think they are, okay? Anybody need me to read the questions again? All right. Okay, put in your answer what you think it is. Okay. Everybody, it's not open book. It's just random memories. All right. You got your answers locked in? You got them locked in? All right. Everybody got them locked in? All righty. All right. Let's go over the answers. Come on. Last chance. 10 more seconds. Put in your answers. You're locking your votes now. Okay. Locking your votes. Anybody need to see them again? Number 1. Those are number 1's questions. Oh, sorry. Right there. King Solomon's legal name, the analogy animal of Uriah's wife, and what animal was the guardian animal. The answers are, for number 1, the legal name given by Solomon, to Solomon by his father was actually, the answer is number 4, Jedediah. Number 4 was Jedediah. Huh? Yeah, it's not Topnapanea. Topnapanea, I think it was said about Joseph, right? Joseph. Jedediah for the name of... You would never think, because they never call him Jedediah, right? But his mom's... No, we're going to call him Solomon. So they called him Solomon. Number 2, what type of animal was used to describe your wise wife? If you guessed a snake, you are incorrect. It's not a snake. It's number 2, the snake. It was not incorrect. The answer is, for Uriah's wife, was a sheep. Remember, Uriah said, "You are that man," and he referred to Uriah's wife as the man who had the sheep. He loved the sheep, treated the sheep as his own daughter. That was the analogy of the animal that was used to describe the one who took the sheep, the one who took Uriah's wife. It was sheep. You would never thought, right? I would have guessed snake if I was guessing. Okay, but I'm not guessing. Okay, number 3, the animal. What was the man? The man killed by the side of the road. There seemed to be an animal who was guarding him. I worded this like a little bit of trick question. The answer is a lion. So if you guess a lion, you got it right. This is the time in the Bible where the old man, the prophet, the man of God, was killed on the side of the road, but the lion guarded his body. But the lion also was the one to kill him. So the lion killed him, did not eat him, just stood by his body as a witness. And people left the body alone until somebody was finally, until the prophet, the one who lied to him, was the one who came up to him, grabbed him, and took him home and buried him. But man, it would have been scary to walk up to this body next to the lion, knowing it could be you. It should have been you. I would have been really freaked out. But he grabbed the body and he buried the man. And he even told his son, he even told his children, he said, "When I die, put my body next to his body." I would have been like, if I was the man who died because you lied to me, I'd be like, I don't want to be buried next to you for eternity. But he was like, make sure I'm buried with that man. I think he was overcome by his guilt, which is rightly he should be. All right. Is that fun? Okay. I just thought of that during the fellowship break. I was like, let's have some little random Bible fact trivia. All right. Okay, everybody, let's go do some crypto. That was fun. You guys did good. Some of you guys are right. Good job. Okay, let's look at XLM. No big update for XLM. No big update for XLM. Remember our current map for XLM. We are still sitting on that target at 3030. That's the target that was there. We pulled back to the target, sat down on the target. This is a healthy area for price. We also broke above the current smaller watch line, about this angle right there. And so after breaking out of that angle, where's that? Wait, okay, yeah. After breaking out of this angle here, this is a good sign. But if we're going to get another health, I think If there is another parabolic that might have formed, I suspected it might have been along this angle, something like this, which means we might be in for another health quite soon, but we're still not in that territory. We're just still sitting up here. So we need to watch this a little bit more carefully. I think the next big move for XLM is closer to 97 cents. Current price is 46 cents. This is the same map that I've had for you guys for weeks, right? Weeks. Yep. Some of the indications say that we might be going to 97 cents or even 173 based on some of this parabolic flow. If we include some of the extremities in the areas on the lower side, we may be looking to get somewhere up to 139, 140, or even the higher, as I measured it, 173 area. That's basically where I'm at with this, all these prices. Okay, so let me move this. Okay, and then some of my comments were, this crypto has active accumulation. Right now, it is at its target that hit. I would expect this to cool off a bit, just as XRP has. However, there's still just another target higher at 30 cents. Okay, so that one already hit. That's back when we were here. So we hit all the way up at 60 cents, and then now we're on the underside of that. So that's a little old, back from November. If the next if the next bull run begins in the market, look for this continue doing well. I also have a top closer to 97 cents. I also have a target at 60 cents on my other chart. So that 60 cents is already hit. And then 97 cents again is that area up there. And let's see what else I put. I believe this will do well in the future. We would love a pullback to get a very strong entry closer to the sword cut at 11 cents. We probably are not going to get a move all the way down to 11 cents, but the next big supports are at that target or at the step up at 24 cents. I don't know if we're going to get all of that. I don't think we're going to get that at all right now. This may not happen since it was already accumulated, but I would like another accumulation. That means that the next pullback, I would like some really strong volume. That's one accumulation I would like. The other situation was like we would like down move on lack of interest. Let's pull up the volume and see what we got. So on this down move, the volume has been trending. It's hard to see it on here, but if I look without the histogram, it's not that hard to see it, even though the histogram should be a little bit more smoother. You can see we are coming down on lack of, the volume is decreasing in this area. So I'm going to say that this is lack of interest. Price is going the wrong way. This is our correction. All right. But yeah, these are some of my thoughts about the market for XLM. Does anybody have any other questions for me on my take, on my opinion on what's happening with XLM right now?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Jason.
Yeah.
So I know in general XRP and XLM seem to be like first cousins or siblings or something like that.
Yep.
There's some sort of linkage there. Does the chart look similar, or is it like really distinctly different?
Very similar to me.
Okay. So it's like you said about XRP, how it's in that sort of that area of health in that same range. Mm-hmm. Would you say the same thing for this?
I would. There's only one thing that's holding me back. I think XRP and XDC are sitting better because I don't have as much support. I have this target, but these are really hard to track supports when we go straight up in the air. It's really hard to track any kind of supports when we start moving straight up in the air. Right now, the only real big support I have is the step up right here at that 24 cents and then the 30 cents target that we had from targeting system. But as far as tracking another support, it's really hard with this one. And we got mid-phantom somewhere at that same target, but is mid-phantom going to be respected? At this moment, I don't really know. I can say that I think 97 is a big breakout, and 173, especially if we're above these targets here, are pulling back in those areas. But once we're like in this area, it's really hard to see it. But I do see it when it comes to XRP and XDC. So Triple J said back in December, maybe a crazy wick to 1 cent. I hear 11 cents, and then XLM slow. So we may not expect the best action with XLM, but I'm still bullish it. I don't think it's going to be like super powerful at this moment just yet. I would like a better support. I would like to see something, at least see it on the chart. And right now I just don't see it just yet.
Gotcha, thanks.
All right.
Do you see the 50 cents? Because let's say 2 days ago, I heard the Lord say 45. It did hit that 45. And then before that, he had told me 50. And yesterday when we were chatting, when I was saying about 50 cents, the Lord spoke 90 and then 110. Maximum for now, I believe it's going to be 90 cents.
Well, 90 cents is about right there. And then 110 is going to be about right here. So somewhere still in where the parabolic starts to level off, somewhere around $1. Somewhere in that range might be what we're expecting as well. I don't have 50 cents. This structure is really disconnected from a lot of this old structure here. It's almost, if I zoom into this structure, you can see it's almost just straight up in the air. So once you go straight up in the air, it's really hard to draw more stronger immediate connections between those numbers, and that's because we're just in new territory, or it seems like we're in new territory. So it's like when you have limited data, how are you supposed to glean so much just from these areas here? But based on some of my star method, this is where we should be experiencing some resistance here, just based on some of the star method stuff. So the next breakout should be above there, closer to these areas. I don't have much more from you for that, but that area is about 46. We already, 50 cents is just about right here. So yeah, I don't have much right now. The same with XRP, guys. I said, please, you're gonna have to refrain after this. Once XRP takes off to the next $2 or $3 or $4, until we hit 5, I don't really have much information for you guys until we hit 5. So now's the time to ask me the questions. When should I jump on XRP? Not after it takes off, because once we start taking out after those territories, it's really hard to jump on a train that's moving straight up in the air. So imagine like we're here and people are asking me, oh, can I jump on XLM? We have health here at these prices. That's what we had. And I have health maybe above the step up with some resistance. If we can build above there, that might be a good jumping off place. But once you're just straight up in the air, it's really hard to catch the supports. So the same thing with XRP, XDC. I think right now those pullbacks to $2 that I've been saying for the last 2 or 3 weeks, these are some of the prices to jump on. But once we take off, it's really going to be not the appropriate place to jump on. And my answer after you ask me, if you ask me that question again, it's going to be sad news. It's going to be like, I don't have anything for you. Just like I'm telling you right now, I don't really have much jumping off place except for that target for XLM. It's hard to really track the next, because you're going up in the air. It's hard to track these movements, but I can tell you it's on declining volume. So there may be, if we had some structures, and this is a good sign here. That's a watch line. We had a support plus a breakout into watch line. I would generally need to be above maybe that 46 cents, 45 cents right now where we're at. Building above there, maybe that's indicative that we're going to go higher, but I don't have much strong really solutions for you. So keep that in mind as we start experiencing some of these higher moves. Now's your chance to look at some of these cryptos before they take off to determine if you like where they're sitting, don't like where they're sitting, signs of weakness are appearing, or signs of health is appearing. All right, anything else XDC? I'm sorry, anything else XLM?
Yeah, I did say yesterday when we were chatting with Marco that that XLM was struggling, and it's gonna take time. It's not moving, and it's still a big move. It went from 4 cents, right? Seriously.
Yep.
If you looked at that chart, Jason, I don't want to force something. I'd love your. Is it okay to just bring that chart back up, like where it's sitting?
Yeah. Hold on.
I always wonder when I draw on my own if I'm just like forcing something. Hopefully, if I'm reading it, if you could just zoom in on the part that we were just looking at, sort of above that.
Yeah. That one.
Is there like, if you were somebody who does day trading, and I don't really trade that frequently, but is there like a flat across there in that shortened time set frame, or am I not seeing that right? If the last huge bar about halfway up it, there's some stuff to the right. If I drew a line across that, is that forcing something?
No, it's not. You're right. You could examine this a lot further, and you can use the smaller time frames to confirm. For example, I'll break it down to the things you're talking about. So this is a 12-hour view of the chart. So if you only have this data, your $12, 12 hours, you got to be more in and out if you're trading this. But yeah, you're probably looking at some. Actually, let's go to that daily chart, and then I'll compare it. It's better to show it here. So if you're looking at this, that might be one of your supports right here. And you can see if you draw the flat, you got your resistance there, okay? Now, if I'm drawing this next area at the cores, I also see flats active here, right there. I don't see anything much for this one, but maybe that. But yeah, flats seem to be having some effect. But this is all I really have at the moment.
So from a tutorial standpoint, I know this is not that, so sorry, but that first blue line, would you draw it all the way across, or should you stop there? Would you ever draw it to where it's resting now, or is that?
Yeah, if price goes up here and it was respecting this, So at times we're respecting that as a support and breaking. This might be a clue about how high price is going to go. Do you know how to extract it from there? If you know that's price is respecting yet disrespecting it, going up and down, but it's still acknowledging that line exists, yet we're playing on both sides. That's what I mean by respect. How can I determine where the breakout points if that's all I have? You know how to do it?
Well, the bottom flat looks weak, but would you DP it?
You can, yes, and that's basically what you're going to be doing. How do I DP this? So I'm just going to give you the big clue. This is a key angle. If it is a key angle, how can I use this to determine where my breakout points are?
Oh, okay. Do you just move it up to that last sort of core top across?
The core? No, not really. You can, but you can, and we'll do that together. But I'll show you it's probably not the answer. But yes, that's one of the things. There's a way to do it. And I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you the wrong answer because you're going to have to do both in real life. You're going to draw your flat here, and then we're going to measure it. But if I take the distance from between here and here, okay, between that core, and I do this, my bottom should be approximately there. Is that my bottom here? Or was this my bottom somewhere here? Was it 1 or 2?
I don't know. That's a trick question.
It's not. The answer is this was not my bottom. We actually went deeper than that. The bottom should have been here. So this calculation is not right. That's how I can quickly tell. But there may be a way to find the right calculation. How could I find the right one? I take my key angle and I can place it at cores, but I can also place it somewhere else. Where at? Help him. He's right. We should be doing the DP. We can use the mid-phantom transformation. Wick. Nolan got it. Wick. That's right. So if I place it on the wick side, either here or even here, now let's just be a little bit more conservative. If I take this angle now and I move it from the core and I move it to the wick, now I have a deeper distance than I did at first. This distance. Now I'm going to take that angle and put it on the other side of my key angle, which is that blue flat there. Now, does this cover the distance? You can learn this like more. You can almost eyeball it eventually after a while if you do it enough. Like that's why I said it. It's correct. It's correct what you're supposed to do, but you're going to find that's not the right answer. But if you move it to the wick side, you can. Now, eventually, sometimes you're going to just eyeball it. You're like, oh, look at the distance from the wick side has it, but the difference just the core. So that tells me something, that the real breakout price, if the distance from here is the same distance from here, then this gives me a verification that the key angle is correct, but it also tells me that the breakout price for new structure really should probably be somewhere up there. In this case, it's what, 61 cents, somewhere around 61 cents. So if I'm getting and I'm building above 61 cents, I can use that as a jumping on point. If this is all I had, the data, all I have for XLM, I can say I want to break out above 61 cents. It also tells me that if price is falling or failing below, good job, Nolan. If price is falling below whatever price this is, and let's see what price that is. It's 31 and 33, so around 32 cents. So price is falling below 32 cents. I'm going to be looking for it to do negatively. So this is how we can extract some of these more farther out targets. So if prices, now if I'm using this, I might be looking for prices to even reject again at those areas like it has before in the past. That might be something, but I'm primarily going to use that to break out. So if I'm intraday trading alone, I'm probably going to get out at 61. But this is not something I'm really intraday trading because, again, it's very little topic. But you can use this technique in most cryptos. Once you find the key, you start unlocking almost everything. If the angle's flat and that's the key, then you're probably dealing with a lot of flat. But that's one way we can use. So I'll save this image, or you guys can take that image screenshot just to train your eyes over and over again to look for some of these things. So great job pointing out the flat. I didn't see it. I'm not really examining that. But if you guys are wanting to find these more like jumping on points, above 60 cents might be one, and at 32 cents might be another one. So if price falls at 32 cents, but we're still finding support, I might want to look to go up. And if price is hitting 61 cents, I might look for 61 cents for price to still come down. Any other questions? XLM topic.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic.
Do you have a monthly chart, or can you just zoom out?
Do I have a monthly?
Higher targets.
Yeah, we have higher targets.
Like, how in depth did we do this crypto? Have we really. Salmon did.
I think I've done a lot of stuff on this chart. For me, I think this one, I've done a few other charts. I'll show you one other chart that I have. Maybe it's going to shed some light on some of the stuff. Here's my one on Coinbase. I think I saw flat up there, closer to 60 cents. But this one doesn't show my support. It still shows my resistances closer to the $1.03, 70, 60 cents resistances. And that's closer to maybe some of these cores down here as a top. But it doesn't give me a strong sitting position, at least above the major structures. So I think that's going to be about all I have for you for this one right now. Okay. There's more to some of these tops and bottoms. Once we get the breakout, we'll re-examine some of that. What's in light of some of the star method stuff, but I don't really think right now we're in any of those territories where that would warrant such a deep look right now. I think we're really far away from some of these targets, like $3.33. We're at 46. But if we get the breakout, then we will. But as it is right now, the stuff you're probably looking at is that smaller stuff going on. Okay. That we just did. 60 cents would also be still in this area we need to clear anyway. So there's still we may want to take profit at 60, watch it come down, or watch it break and really sit above those 60 areas. Okay. Any other questions, my friends? XLM. Okay, let's look at Doge. Okay, we had a weakness appearing underneath this parabolic here, somewhere around in this area, and the price did fall. It looks very similar to a lot of the more current cryptos that are falling, but let's see if it's sitting in a good position, okay? When we looked at this crypto last, we can see that this fall originally was on declining volume, and then we have very high volume on the individual down bar here on a support. And that could be some buying coming in, especially if there's a secondary area of accumulation. But to confirm this, we really need a health, or to be sitting in a healthy area to say, hey, that's just buying. But we did move to the sides. I don't know if there's going to be a secondary accumulation on this area. When I see that, generally I look for a first or primary accumulation area. I look to see what that means is in the volume. I like to see strong increases on the down moves into health. For example, if this is the down move, in this area here, I want to see high volumes on the individual down bars, or even overall. I want to see a strong increase in volume that might indicate that they're accumulating along the bottom. So if I pull this up, as I mentioned before, I don't really see that. And I'm going to pull up the histogram, see if I can smooth this out, see if it will smooth it out a little bit. For Doge, on the down moves, we have just consistent volume, and then the decline on these last down moves, that one move up on strong volume. And then I have another down move, but on declining volume. So I don't really, for me, in my opinion, have a really clear accumulation period. And I didn't draw any of my white arrows on this one, at least on this chart. This is Binance. I don't really see that strong accumulation. So that generally that means when we do have up moves, they're not usually sustained or sustainable for a long time, especially if more weaknesses appear. Okay, now the last big moves that we have up are this. Okay, here and here. So we still have plenty of time before any real major weaknesses appear, and that tells me we might be coming to the flat. And that's this angle. Now I've already denoted this line on our chart. It's called, I drew it as a watch line. So you can extend that out. You can set it. You can set an alert if you want to. I'll extend this out like this, and then we can put the words watch line, and then you can set an alarm right on your chart by hitting the alarm clock button. Once you click on your line, you'll see your toolbar. Click on the alarm clock button, and then I can type myself a message in this message field down here. I'm gonna say possible weakness appearing. Okay. Now again, this is really far away, but I just hit create. If it comes here, I'll get an alert, a little pop-up in my alerts, and this is just to teach you guys. See my alarm clock symbol down here? If I click my alarm clock symbol, it's going to tell me any of my more recent alerts that are happening. Okay? So if price is reaching here, an alarm will trigger and it'll pop up. Okay? All right. So one of the things I did, if this is a key angle, then I'm going to bring it to the top energy center, primarily in between those areas, and you're going to see something happen. Okay, so the highest energy center is that one, but when I bring it here, I want to be looking for one of two things. I either want to be looking for price to have rejected at 31 cents, or I'm looking for price to build. You guys tell me so far what might be happening. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. On first glance, what might it appear that's happening? Price is up here right now. So what might it be appearing for Doge? Are we rejecting here? Rounding on top, rounding on bottom, breakout, health. Yep, that's right. Firecracker says health and breakout. It looks like we're breaking out and sitting on top of that area. So this would actually be possibly a good thing for Doge. To break out and sit on this area is a good sign that we might be continuing up. And then we just take the full oscillation, duplicate it to the top side, which we've already done this, and that's our DP projection. See this line that says DP? That tells us if we do break up, we may actually be going a little bit higher, closer to $1.14. So for Doge, going higher to closer to maybe $1.14. Now there's also a DP projection based on this area, and that's where it gives this pocket. So if I take this oscillation and I DP that taking the distance, bring it on top, that's what I mean by DP projection, they form a line going downward. So therefore now I have this little pocket, 8-ball, corner pocket, and I put a little resistance in that pocket, and we can calculate this. This is around approximately April or March. Sorry, let's see the date, somewhere around March 17th, March 3rd week, somewhere around between in the month of March, we got some possible vortex. So if prices are sitting there in the month of March, I might be looking for it to come back down. That's why I give you a little circle up there, closer to that time especially. If you wanted to note this, I can put a little call out right in that pocket, and I'm going to put Vortex March 2020 weekly chart. So I can put that as a vortex. So if price goes right up that pocket, I'm going to look to take profit, look for it to come down. Now if price breaks above and sits on that pocket, I'm also going to be looking to be very bullish. And I can draw that as well with another circle on the top side. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but if USDT.D still has room to run and these cryptos take off, I'm going to be looking for it to be bullish in that pocket. Now, oddly enough, I got a number that Triple J gave around a 110, 120, 125. That's all in that pocket there. So that's oh, it looks like I already gave you that health. Look, see the circles there. I'll just use this one here. But somewhere around that pocket is where we might actually be looking. All right. Thank you, Triple J. Oh, look at Red Volt playing in the snow.
Can I say something else?
Say it, Triple J.
Interesting enough, because it's been a little bit slow lately, and it's just been sitting somewhat. So the Lord spoke to me the other day and said that Doge was going to move, and it was going to have a big move. Interesting enough, I didn't remember the 110, and I heard 90 and 110, and then he just told me that it's going to be part of the 30-30-30.
Okay, let's add that to this one. Part of the 30-30-30, which we're
I don't know
still.
if you guys remember the 30-30-30 move. That's TC, XRP, XDC. That's God talking. Oh, and it's part of the poker. Is there anything in poker that has to do with 30-30-30? Royal, you play poker.
No, there's no such thing.
No such thing. Okay.
We'll find the connection soon enough. We're pray about discernment. We're
33?
What's that?
Did you say 33?
No, I didn't say 33, but it's 30-30-30. It's mate. There's 3 threes.
Oh, 30.
30-30-30.
pray for discernment on interpretation what the 30-30-30 might be. We're still trying to get that part. This. Go ahead, Triple J.
Now I figured somebody would know it would be Roy that plays poker.
Yeah. Still waiting for that. We've heard it for quite a bit, 30-30-30. It may be linked to end of months, at least. But in a biblical calendar, it's actually closer to 13-month calendar and 28 days. I'm not really sure about that, but it's just an idea. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Royal?
Oh, I'm not gonna say. I'm just agreeing with Jason.
So Marco had said percent, and it has moved like in the 30%, like BTC has done it. It's moved like from 30 to 60 to 90 to 100 to 120. The Lord has given those numbers. Part of it, that's what I believe. I also that I've had the vision that the Lord puts the cards on the table, and the other day that He showed the cards that He put them like a fan, and I keep seeing the king, the queen, and the ace. He's the house, and the other day He said, "Let's play." So you know what that means, right? When the house says, "Let's play," who wants to play? Because they always win. That's God.
Is there a trade on the table, and what would be the entry point? Or is there no? I'm just wondering if Doge, what's the entry point for the next trade?
Royal,
One moment. Royal,
What is the question? I'm sorry.
what's the entry point?
are you guys?
I didn't hear it.
Are you asking?
What is it? I'm available right now.
What's the entry point for poker? Or the next entry point for poker?
You can have Royal Plus. The entry when I play poker, I bring $20. So mostly $5 the entry, and then I'll regrow that to $500, and I go home. Want to stay longer than that? Yeah, $5 is the entry, the lower entry.
Another trade might start above 50 cents. Okay, it might start above 50 cents, and then for the lower entry, I'll need to consult my other chart. Oh wait, I have one more for you.
It's a big deal. Keep buying it.
I can believe it's gonna go also $1.50 to $2. I hear the Lord saying $150. And I also hear the Lord saying there's gonna be a moment of a big progression. Is that even correct? That word
Progression.
Progression.
Yeah. I don't have much entry for you for Doge so far on these. I'll give you some price points where there may be entry, some numbers to watch. I'm going to be looking at 61 cents, 48 cents, and structural above basically the 50 cents, right? Yeah, 50 cents and maybe 18 cents supports. Those might be entries. And then my other chart that I had for Doge, I think the entries are the same as last time. The health closer to this number right there, 36 cents. Since we're still above that support, anything close to 38 cents might be good. I don't have a really strong watch line since our current watch line is already broken. It's that one right there. We're already in that health, and we popped out on the positive side, so that's already a good spot for getting a close entry. And I don't have another one. I won't draw a line from here to here because we don't know if that's a top. It can be here, and then you'll be like, why did I draw that? Okay, but at the moment, probably anywhere still right now. Okay. Any other questions that I have? Read the comments. iPad says another person's reading resonates with your Dream J song in January market down then rise. When Dream did I do that? Was that this year? I'm not saying the market's going to come down in January. iPad, can you clarify? I don't remember how to dream that market's supposed to go down in January. Let's see, SHIBA INU. In poker, 30-30-30 refers to a standard payout structure for a multi-table tournament. In the structure, 30 to 40% of the prize pool is awarded to the final three players. The majority of the prize pool is given to the final table, and typically 15 to 20% of the field is paid out. Interesting.
And there's more in the bottom.
Dave said 30-30. This could potentially lead to the next wave 60-60-60, then a 100-100 wave that follows the tokens that you were given, God's reward numbers possibly.
Wow. Because I see the Lord when he puts the cards on the table like a fan. And it's a very, I'm going to explain, when he puts it on the table, I see it's a strong hand, but at the same time that it's a strong hand, it's a softly put on the table. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Kind of.
So that's very, because that's how Coin has moved, and XR has moved. In XDC, we haven't seen anything yet. It's just waiting, it's brewing, it's bubbling.
Okay. iPad says you did not say January, but simply as illustrated with XRP, market will drop, then a strong rise. The other person was reading for January. Oh, I'm not in that camp, iPad. I do apologize, but no, I don't believe XRP is going to drop. Yeah, XRP sitting in a good position. If it has a chance to go up, it's going up now. So I don't really believe this is a bad month. We're going to get into USDT.D. You'll see where I have, but yeah, I got to be careful. Every now and then somebody will come up online and they'll say something. People they put my dreams in that category, but I got to be really careful and just siding with every team. I don't really side with much teams, at least try to give it to you as best I can. But I remember the reason I said this because a few months ago somebody was like, yeah, you're really bearish the market. And I think they were talking about USDT.D. But when USDT.D is bearish looking down, then we're looking for prices to rise. That always moves the opposite. So I had to clarify that. So yeah, I'm definitely not bearish XRP at all in January. If anything, we have a chance to move up based on USDT.D, which is coming up right now. So let's go into the USDT.D situation so everybody has a good grasp on what might be happening in the market. This is what I believe is happening in the market. As I let you guys know, this is the resistance from January of 2026. I told you guys, I called it. I said this is some of the last best crypto prices, and we went down from here. Okay, and then we came back up. We hit the number in a single day. We came up and hit that top again and that angle, and then we came down again. And then we went up again here in this 4.3 area and came down. But what is happening over the weeks is that we're having actually a larger time where we're having a round structure underneath a major resistance. Okay, so we really got to know when we're here, we're going to be looking for for this to go down. And when this goes down, that means we need to be bullish markets. We need to be very bullish markets for crypto, because or are very careful being bearish. If anything, we don't want to be bearish. We don't want to be out of crypto when we're at these areas. So we hit that area 1 day, 2 day, 3, but look at the structure that's forming over the last few weeks. It's now larger structure on the even larger time frames. And when I see larger structure that matches the larger time frames, we know that something more powerful could be brewing. Now, a move like this could even bring us down to much stronger lows down in these areas, and that would facilitate a strong run for XRP, for many cryptos like SHIBA and a lot of cryptos. So anytime we're here, these are good prices for cryptos, and anytime we're sitting there. Now, something we've highlighted is that this structure has been holding on for quite a while. Now, this doesn't happen all over a single day. It can happen, as I mentioned when I first did in my first videos. I look at the video, watch it. I said it. It can happen over days. It can happen over weeks, or it can even happen over months. In this case, it seems to be happening over weeks. Some of the clues that it's happening is when we perform core cluster, that angle is holding. Now, as I mentioned a little back ago, I adjusted the angle slightly so it does increase, but the number was 4.27 here. Okay, 4.27, but the angle slightly increased, and I showed you guys why in my previous videos, why I increased the angle slightly. But what we're looking at is larger structure that is forming over longer time, and that facilitates a much longer and sustained down move. I gave you guys this the other day. We did this analysis, and I showed you this angle. Okay, the angle at 3.94 basically today. That was this weekend. So I said, watch for us to hit this angle. But I also showed you, because the angle is the same as the wick, I'm concerned more so with the wick side. Okay, let me pull up the image so you guys can see just how this actually works. Okay, so here's our USDT chart. Okay, here it is. Okay, on this chart, I gave you the angle and I said, but look, the angle is also the matching for the wick. So when I see that, and when you see this in any crypto, it's a big clue. See this? Look, here's the best look. It's a big clue that we're actually looking closer to the lower wick side. So anytime you see the cores matching the wick, know that the oscillation is a lot larger. The support is more likely to be the wick side because the angle is the same as the wick angle. So it's really the wicks that have it. It's very likely, if we're going to see the next big move or support or rejection or breakout, it's this one down here. And I said this in my video just this Saturday. Okay, so anybody watching that, that means that at that moment, we don't want to be bearish. I don't want to take profit that day. I really want to still be bullish the market until we hit here, and then we're going to wait for the next decision to occur. Now look at this from Saturday, and I'm going to make sure I take a picture and I'm going to put Saturday video. Let's make it really big so I remember. Saturday, what was the date? January, today's the 6th. Is today the 6th or the 5th? It's the 6th, so January 4th. Okay, I showed you this. That angle right there, okay, pay attention. And I explained why on Saturday if you guys watched it. Here's today, okay? This is today, and that's why we didn't want to be bearish this past weekend. Anytime this chart is going down, we want to be bullish the market. Remember, when USDT.D comes down, cryptos have a chance to go up, okay? So when we were here, this is a good time for cryptos. When we're here, this is a good time for crypto prices. When we're here, this is a good time for crypto prices. And when we're here, this is a good time for crypto prices. The symbol that I always draw for the last few years was this symbol here. And I draw it all the time. and I never stopped drawing it still to this day. I just use circles in combination. But I did this symbol quite a bit. Okay, before I didn't use circles, I just used that. But today I still use circles, and you'll still see me, even today's videos, you'll see me drawing with this. So this is this shape I draw from sword method. This is the shape I'm always looking at. Okay, that round structure like that. Don't anybody get all conspiracy. Oh, he's drawing the eye. The eye is owned by God. God draws the eyes. He made the eye of man. To throw some of that out there. We got a lot of conspiracy type people in here. I'm in your camp. I love conspiracies. Okay. But we also know that to the pure, all things are pure. Okay. Oh, Jason made a triangle. Triangle belongs to the Lord as well. Now, you got to understand, this is decision time then. When price is here, based on the wick side, where we should be going, look at your cryptos. You're probably up today. There's a lot of cryptos still up today. They're up during this last move. Look at your XRP. Look at your XLM. Look at your XDC. Look at even some of the ones that fell. From this date from on, you're going to see that prices had a chance to move up. From this one on. Okay, but once the structure is set, the move can actually be quite rapid. Okay, look at carefully. If this is the structure, once we're here, the move down can be quite rapid. The onset of this and the determining factor, if we're not going up and we don't have another large structure, is going to be right here. This is the determining factor. This is going to determine if we're going to have a bearish or bullish January. These areas, and primarily this one. This is what I said on Saturday. If I bounce from here, I'm going to be looking for it to go up. But the macro, the larger story, always takes precedence above the smaller story. Let's take a moment, and I'm going to explain something. When I began trading in Forex years ago, or first examining, I had certain techniques that I use. And I thought, man, these techniques are really good. They work sometimes, they don't work sometimes. I needed to understand first that what price does at a trend line is just as important as what it doesn't do. And that's something that most trend line teachers don't really talk about. I don't know why they don't, but I've had lots of teachers over the years. I've went to lots of seminars, sometimes in person, sometimes online. But one of the things that happened is I learned that what price doesn't do is just as important as what it doesn't do. The other thing I learned is that, I was going to say a specific topic about this. The other thing I learned is that when we're at decision times, we need to pay attention to the larger story, because the larger story is always going to take precedence. So what I mean by that is I was in some Forex trades and I did everything I could to stack the odds in my favor at that time. I thought, man, this analysis is so good. And I sat back at my 15 or 20 minute chart and I said, this is so good. But guess what? Price went exactly the wrong way. And it didn't just go exactly the wrong way. It went way the wrong way. It went like slam down the wrong way, like really far. And I said, what the heck am I doing wrong? And it was as simple as, and I wish I would have gone back to my younger self, because I would have slapped myself in the face and I would have said, wake up. Your analysis was correct, but you're not zooming out far enough and you're not keeping track of all the timeline variables. Okay? Just because you're right on a 15-minute chart, and you are right, doesn't mean you're right on the daily or the larger macro story. If I would have just zoomed out and did the same analysis, I would have saw that, whoa, even though I'm right on the small time frames, there's a large story that's happening before my eyes. I need to not even be trading here. This is a dangerous area. Most likely, I didn't understand the law of precedence, that the larger stories often, with their structures, overtake the smaller story almost any day. Because the people that are trading over years more shadow the people who are just trading in the last day or two. Does that make sense? The people who are trading over years and over time and weeks and months take precedence over the smaller story. So if I zoom in on this candle, like on a 15-minute chart, I can make reasons on why we may go up for the day. But I need to understand the larger story takes precedence. And the larger story is going to tell me points when it's about to make its decisions. For today, for us, for USDT.D, that decision is right now, today, 3.86, and we're there at 3.86. Okay, we are at 3.86. So if there's going to be another weakness, it needs to be underneath there. Okay, if the story is going to continue and we're going to be bullish, I'm going to know it, and I'm probably going to be one of the first to know it, because we're going to get closes here. When this goes down, I'm bullish the market. So if I get some closes below 3.86, I'm going to be like, whoo. All right, so that's one of the things. One of the ways I can use to determine if I'm going to be going down I'm going to hide my lines to show you. If I'm going down, I can use the volume. If this is a supply check, I can look for increasing volume on the downside. If there's too much volume, the price is not ready to rise. We're going to be looking for us to drop. And I'm going to be looking at 1, 2, 3. So let's pull up the volume to see if there's any strong indications that might be the case. Now, there's not a strong indication that's the case right now. But I do have strong volume, or at least still some strong volume on the down moves. But the volume seems to be, as we come back down to the support, not super strong. So I don't have a real strong indication that I'm going down. So I still need to be more cautious. Okay, is there any indications else that I may be going down in a big way? I can read some of the RSI, some of the round structures that's on the top. I'll be looking if RSI has a strong pullback, I have a strong momentum to the downside. That might be one thing. So let's pull up the RSI. See, do I have a strong momentum on the up pullback? I'll show you what I mean. This is the pullback. This area represents what is happening, this move here. I want to compare this to some of the previous pulls, like here, and maybe even here and here. Okay, if I compare to this area, I'll be looking for this pullback to be moving equivalent to price. So if price pulled back, price would have to have been really high, but it's not. It's really down here. So when price is barely going backwards in the wrong direction, and RSI is really pulling back, I know that the momentum is that price is still probably going to be flowing downwards. In this case, I have a pullback, maybe not to the super high, but I have a pullback to maybe here and here, maybe these areas. So if I look on these areas, I'm higher. I'm actually higher. Let me see if I can shrink my pencil so you guys can get a better examine. And I'll tell you what this means for the data. If these are the peaks and I'm already going higher, this is a peak and I'm already going higher, that tells me the pullback momentum is for the downside. So more likely, if I get weakness, I'm more likely to go down. So that's one way I can measure. I can say that RSI indicates we're going to continue to be bullish. RSI indicates momentum is bearish, this chart, / bullish the market. Okay. So if the market, I'm using this as an indicator of what's happening in the market, I'm going to say the market is bullish. I can like highlight that, a little bit. So we all remember, it's more likely we're going to come down in a faster way, somewhere the lower ends, go farther. Okay. Another thing I can do to give me a gauge on the sentiment is I can look to see if this area, I can gauge this area in two ways. I can see if this up move was on no demand, and I can also see if this up move has a super high volume here. That would be an indication of a secondary distribution. So if I look at the volume and I see the volume is still rising or still high, it might be an indication that we're still probably going to challenge this area one more time. Okay, there's still a lot of market. Now we could challenge it now. We can challenge it after a big drop and come to these areas. But I'm going to say there's a lot of activity in this, especially even on the high moves, on these bars up here. There's still a lot of high volume. Okay, so that might be an indication. One way we may say that there's not, maybe this last bar up here, because when we challenge this area again, and I mentioned this again on Saturday, we had very little volume. So maybe this is all it's going to take to say, okay, maybe there's no more because they challenged it again. So one technically may say, yeah, they did challenge it twice and there was no more volume, so there's no reason for us to really go up high. And that might be just a clue that we need. I used that one on Saturday. I said, I don't think we're really going up at this moment because of that check. But there was a lot of volume, and if they do want to have it one more time, it's still within the right, but it's not super clear. But in the more immediate, I would say there's no real reason. Okay. In either case, one clue we have that we may be staying down is if we take the angle, as I mentioned before, we could say to ourselves, we need to be underneath here. And that's a good sign that we might be coming down. But we need to clear, because the wick angle still has it, we need to clear the wick. So yes, this is a sign that we may be going down, but we need to really be there, as I mentioned in the other chart, for us to decide. So you guys are going to know before some of the experts in the market. You're going to know probably in the next day or two. If I get a bounce here, then you can maybe take some profit on your cryptos. You can probably look for another entry. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Okay, but you'll be the first to know because you guys can draw that angle yourselves. Okay. All right, on a smaller time frame, I'll do one more thing. On a smaller time frame, if I have a strong parabolic, it'll be a good clue about when this is going to happen next. But I don't have a really sharp key angle. It's like way up here. And I don't really have a strong parabolic. But if I was trying to draw one, maybe it's here. Okay, but I don't really have it, so it's not really clear, so I'm not going to really worry so much about that. But if I did see a really strong parabolic and I see prices bouncing up there, it might be a clue also that we're coming back up. But right now, I don't really have it. Okay, I'm just going to leave that at that. I'm still bearish this chart, bullish the market. Any questions on my take for today for the markets? And we're going to be back on Wednesday. I think that's all we have. Where did you find this USDT.D chart? The dominance. It's not a USDT chart. It's the USDT dominance. I found it years ago. I'm not sure how I found it. But on TradingView, if you guys want to find it, type in USDT.D. And my theory behind the chart on why it works so well of giving me a good clue is when I read the real health and resistance on this chart, it really indicated people's sentiment of the market, because basically they're either in crypto or they're in cash positions. They're one or the other. If they're not in crypto, they're in cash positions. So generally when they're selling and they're getting out, the USDT.D is going to have a bigger market share, meaning the dominance. Okay. So if it's going up, people are going out of crypto. But when it's going down, people are jumping out of their cash positions and moving into crypto. So that's why I understand is really happening when it comes to the dominance, because really it comes either to stable coins or crypto. That's all there really is in the market. People are either in their stable coins or they're in that. So when there's a dominance, when this chart is falling, I start thinking to myself, hey, they're jumping out of crypto. They're jumping out of their cash positions. They're jumping into crypto. Crypto should probably rise because more money's coming in, and it gives me a good indication of when that is. All right. Anyone else? I love to see this chart. It reveals so much. It tells me when prices should go down. It reveals just so much goodness. I love this chart a lot. Okay. All right. Anyone else? My take, my opinions on my thoughts regarding USDT.D. Watch that number today. If you get a big bounce, especially if we get some support still back on 390, we may be still coming up. You'll be the first to know it. This is going to come down a little bit. Remember, well, if you missed any more, I give better reports about my dream videos. You guys saw that I'm looking for it to go up on a curve once we hit the 3.5 or 3.2 area. Once we're there, I'm going to be looking for XRP to be closer to $5. Okay. All right. I need to look at Turbo. Okay. If you guys have requests for Wednesday, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get them all done because I really want to do some tutorials on Wednesday, but I will use some. Okay. Turbo support for me still around 0080. We hit it once already. There was a sword cut that's smaller here, but we're going to delete that one because I don't see that anymore, or even where it came from anymore. Okay, price is sitting on its last watch line here. This is the last watch line, so that's a bullish position for Turbo. This angle right here can extend out a little bit. We're still on top of that support. That gives us moves. By the way, we also identified a large flat here and the oscillation here. That means our resistance most likely is going to be 15 or 0.15. So for Turbo, it looks like we already hit that target back in December 12th. So we'll really need a breakout. Yeah, that's why I drew that circle there. So I'll just make that circle a little bigger. I really want the breakout above 15, and then that might be indicative we're going up to, and we used to go up to 0.21. Now that's going to move to next week. The number is 0.25, so that number is going to increase, and these will also increase or just go up the track. All right, so as an update, we last hit our health. We hit the bottom support here and sword cut. I'm still going to be bullish Turbo right now. The larger story is that we're playing in this oscillation, and we may even hit Turbo as high as 87 cents. Current price is 0.1 penny. That's huge. That's huge. My next big resistance was around 6 cents. That's also going to come up along the track. So if it goes up next week, it's around the 0.76 cents. Still a lot of money, 700% or something like that on the board if it does go up. Okay, yep, somewhere around 652, 600% possibly. But we're going to need to know it in its stages. The 0.15 cents is going to be a big indication for me. Price is the best indicator of itself. Get me above here, we can talk about going up. Then we'll get me above there. Then we can talk about going up to its next higher targets, and we'll map some other things. By the way, a smaller watch line has appeared, and I will borrow this one. It is this watch line right there. So a smaller health can be drawn here in those prices and in those areas. Right now we're at the watch line resistance 0.10 cents. So we need the next health to begin a new trade. I want to be above here. If we get weakness under here, look for us to come back down to those prices. Does everybody understand or have a good idea of Turbo? For some of you who are navigating Turbo, I'll take some screenshots for Turbo, but no real big update, okay? Story within story. So my last thoughts, this crypto appears to be breaking out December 4th. I'm looking at Turbo to move higher during this bullish season. Okay, we broke about up there and sitting on a support. So we need another breakout. This shouldn't say November. I'll just leave it blank from today. All right. Strong indications that there's still a lot of volume indicate that we're still going to be challenging higher. All right. Go, says Triple J. Or go, she's saying. All right. Anyone else? Did you say on Saturday you want to look at Radium? Oh, good. Did I say that? Okay. I take it back. I did say that on Saturday I wanted to look a closer look at Radium. So that's the one we'll do. Okay, Radium. I have it here, but not all of these we needed to look at again. These ones right there. So Ray, we will look closer at. Where's a good place to buy in? Where's a good place to buy in, says iPhone? Probably above 0.110 when you get the breakout. If you get the breakout here, that means a good place. The last place to buy in was at the lower shortcut that we had. So the next one is going to be up here. If you get a breakout, this one, it's not negative, it's a breakout one. So that's a good place. But I want to get the breakout. You may get it in a few days. Look for some solid closes on the daily chart. We got 10 hours for the next close, but we're not, 5 hours for the next, 6 hours for the next close, but we're not there just yet. 6 hours, 45 minutes. And then I want to also buy above 0.1 price. I want to buy above that price if I can get some good structures. That might be a place to jump on, but probably the best prices is at the lower number here. I like where it's sitting. By the way, all of this might be construed as, and I'll hide my image. Hide your lines every now and then. This might be construed as larger round structure. Okay, here's one round structure. Here's another round structure. Make sure you always draw those. Okay, that's why we have those really high 87-cent prices up there in the sky. We have those 87 cents. It's the same structure. I already drew this for you guys. I'm just letting you guys know it can be construed as a larger structure. Pay attention to some of those round structures. All right, let's look at Radium. Okay, so when I looked at Ray, I think Ray's sitting in a good position based on this oscillation here, the larger oscillation. We can delete the mid-phantom if we want to. Okay, this is our bottom angle. Oops, I don't want to wiggle that one. This is our bottom angle. When we bring it up to the top angle, we got verification here, and there's our support. Now this levels out to about right here, and you can see that price is actually just rounding in this area. So that's something good. In a bullish territory of the market. Now if I zoom in this a little bit closer, I'll show you that this is health. But right now, anywhere sitting on top of 460, where we showed you guys, is a health. I like it. Now to do this a little more professionally, we can level these out with blocks. Okay, so if I take this angle, I can just take a block and use that. Okay, they need to be the same color as your parabolic. So by and far, I'm looking for support to be here, because these parabolics, what they do is they level out. They don't go backwards, because price doesn't go from left. Price goes from left to right, not backwards. So that's why I don't draw circles, at least in our current method, and I don't have any plans of that changing. If I take that parabolic and I brought it down looking for verification to the lowest energy centers in these areas, especially in the foundational area, which is right here. Okay, so if I bring it here, look where I'm drawing. If I bring it back there, I'm hitting it here, I'm hitting it here. I didn't draw this angle. Okay, I did draw this angle. But this is how you can verify it. If I bring it here, it's the same angle as here. If I'm drawing it here, I want to look for the verification on one side or the other. They're basically the same because they're the same angle, but in this case I really have to take back some of what I said because I couldn't draw it here, but I can find the verifications there. So once I have the angle, all you do is you move it to your foundational areas, which is the beginning parts, okay? The highest places in those beginning parts, in case here, and then it hits here, and it sits here. So now all I have to do is measure the distance between price oscillating and bring it higher. So in this case, I already did the footwork for everybody on Ray. I already did your homework for you, so to speak. And there it is up there. So Ray is supposed to be hitting closer to $13. I'm going to bring this out where it levels out. It's somewhere about $13.70. If it falls, it's also going to fall to where the parabolic levels out, and it should be, in this case, $1.38. So these are some of the easy ways we can find some of the biggest numbers. Now, I don't want to fall into this area anyway because that'd be a sign of weakness. But if I know I'm in a free fall, I might want to buy some back up at 138, or I'll just hold out until we get to 138. But in any case, we're not in those territories, so we don't have to worry about that yet. But we'll be the first to know if weaknesses are falling. Okay. By the way, if I was resisting on the underside of here, I'd be looking for us to fall back down. But because we're sitting on top, especially when we're rounding, I'm going to be looking for us to go up. So this is why we can find weakness and resistance both in the same area. That's why you have these circles back to back. So if price comes up to here, I'll be looking for us to resist. But if we break above the 13, I'll be looking for us to possibly go up a little higher, maybe to the 19 or even farther, depending on how much time has elapsed. If more time has elapsed, I'll be looking for this to hit somewhere in the future, and there's even more money on the table, such as $40 up there. So that's why we don't trade based on flat price alone. J-Song said $19 and it hits $40. Move the price along the track and you're going to know. And all we have to do is go to next week and move it straight up in the air and we can know what numbers we're looking at. In this case, it's $19 to $20, somewhere around there. Okay. That's how we can get a really good idea of where we should be looking to take profit on almost any single given day. I can even zoom into this exact day and try to get the exact number for tomorrow. The number for tomorrow is 19. But I'm just being average, right? I'm trying to get you in the ballpark, $20, $19. And that's why I even typed the words area. Okay, so let's zoom in. Let's take some photos and let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so make sure you guys have that. That's going to be some of the more relevant things for radium. But if I look in now to this move, and I'm going to hide my lines, and I'm going to zoom in just to this area, I want to look to see two things, really strong volume or really declining volume. In this case, I do see in the down move, we have lots of volume. Now, if that volume is especially on the down bars, that's a good sign if we move into health. In this case, we moved into health. And this could be a sign that there's a secondary accumulation, meaning more buying, more money is coming into the markets. In these pairs here, we're seeing lots of volume. But we come down and challenge them again on a declining volume into health. Okay, so here's the health. I'm going to show it to you. So I pay attention to these things. So this means that they were buying, this was buying happening. So generally, we can put some yellow arrows or some white arrows in these areas, and usually you'll see me put a little white arrow and I type the word buying. So I'm going to say there's some incoming money happening here because it all happened on high volume into health. Now, if there's declining overall, that's a good sign that this is a correction. But if it's buying or increasing on the down moves, yet we move into health, that's the sign that there's a secondary accumulation. Secondary accumulation tells me more money's coming in. Secondary accumulation. This is when the big, larger traders are asking themselves, hey, what prices are good for me to jump in because I missed the entry? Or I want to entry again, but it's unlikely we're going to see some really low prices. So what's the best prices I can pay? They're saying it's these prices here. We're saying based on the structure, they're right. That was the support. We're saying that anything in this block was exactly the prices they should have paid. They're millionaires and billionaires. They want to throw a lot of money on it. You can see a lot of money coming in, and you want them to pay on here, especially when it's above here and we move it to health. That's a very good sign that this is going in the right direction for radium. Okay, it's not signs of weakness. It's actually very good for radium. So that's why I would like to be bullish radium. Right here is your health. So now we can calculate more of the smaller prices of bullishness. And in this case, if I was trying to get the best price for today to jump on, I'd be looking for maybe $5.25. $5.25 is around the areas I want to be getting prices for radium. Okay, somewhere, if we get a pullback, that's great. We're not guaranteed to get one, but if we did, I would think that's a good price. You could draw a little trend line and set an alert for yourself. I'll set a little alert for myself, just drawing a little trend line and making it really thin, but just to set an alarm and say, click my alarm clock button, and I'm going to say Ray is at a great price, and you can do the same, $5.20 area. Okay, $5.25 area. Ray is pulling back, and just any kind of notes you might want to make for yourself if you want to take the trade. But that might be a good deal for you. So it's a pullback on the smaller within the larger story, and the larger story is both bullish. Any questions, comments, my thoughts, Ray? Questions, comments, my thoughts, Ray. Sitting on top of the support, breaking out of the smaller little move area, secondary accumulation possibly happening. Okay. I identified in the past small buying in the volume here. Now I'm going to put some more buying here, small buying. All right. That's going to conclude today. We'll be back on Wednesday. I'm going to do some tutorials for star method. I'm going to start showing you some of the star method tutorials. We're going to go back into gesture with our art. Gesture is very important. And we're not talking about a court gesture. Lord, I pray that you bless everybody. May you bless them. May you keep them. Make your face to shine upon them. Look upon them with favor. Be abounding to them with grace. Be gracious unto them. Lift up your countenance towards them, Lord, and give them peace. Strengthen them. Give them courage to face the day. Heal all of them from their weaknesses and their weariness. Let them never be weary in well-doing. I pray that they would be patient. Let them also develop all the character needed to sustain the millions and billions. For what is it to gain the whole world, yet lose our own soul? Let us never lose our soul, Father. Let us not lose our soul to the enemy. Let us not lose our soul to greed and to fear and to the worries and troubles that money can bring. Let us use money like a powerful tool when it's time. Your face is who we seek. By you we cry, Abba, Father. It is you on whom we seek. We love you. You're our Father. We thank you. We love you. Forgive us for our great and many sins. Help us to be positioned for your Spirit. Let us be positioned for your moves and what you're doing upon the earth. Let us be positioned for the end times. Let us be positioned in all areas of our life, and let us be busy doing the things and works of God. We love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.